Every time I applied somewhere, I got a rejection. I applied somewhere, I got a rejection. But like they say, you should never give up. Now, if you have 100 applications, why should I choose you? This is always the question. So if 90 people are sending me only their CVs, of course I will look up to them. But if you are the 91st person who will send me your motivation to join the company, why are you different and why should I choose you? I will be more excited in your application than those 90 people. This is how you sell your story. So it's all about how you portray yourself. So I was so used to calling all my teachers, my seniors as sir and ma'am. And one day she really, she took me and she's like, I am not sir or ma'am. I am not your ma'am. Call me by my name. And then I got so used to it that I'm calling everybody by their name. And then I went to India. I'm telling my mom, he's coming. And she's like, did you forget your values?
People introduce that, okay, he or she is working under me.
Yes.
And if your boss will introduce to someone else, then they will say that he or she is working with me.
Yes.
So how was this transition phase from your academia to industry? Was it like kind of smooth or with like some zigzag? I mean, the way you told us, it was smooth, but maybe something there in the background story which would be
Nothing
interesting
was
maybe.
Smooth. It was smooth only on papers. No, I like you said, I was applying, of course, in my master's. So this was my wish that I want to go to industry.
Okay.
So I was a beggar, not a chooser there.
Okay.
Not that I had 5 offers from different companies which said, hey, Pratika, we want you, just come. But at least I knew I want to do this. But I didn't know how to apply. I didn't know how the CV should look like. Okay. I didn't know how the cover letter should look like because I was a researcher. And trust me, when they say there's a difference between how you apply for academic jobs and for industrial jobs, for PhD applications and for industry application, there's a difference.
A lot. And a job CV and scientific CV is totally different.
It's totally different, and I had no clue. I had no clue how to do it. And I was as naive as I could be in that part. Okay. And then, like I am telling you today to reach out because I was shy. I was shy to ask help because I thought, what if people said I had a really bad CV? What if people said I had no experience to apply to positions? So this was somewhere which let me not apply for a long time because I was searching internet resources. I was asking some people, what should I do? I eventually started to reach out, of course, because I had no option. But I didn't know how do you do it. So I was really naive at this point because, okay, I know how to apply for a master's research position, but for industry, it needs to be really different.
And how about like alumni? So were there any any kind of events or something where you can connect to alumni who were working in industry or maybe academia who can give some maybe advices or some options?
Yeah, this is what actually then I did. So then I went to my coordinator and I asked him, hey, can I get some list of my seniors who switched from academia to industry? And he said, sure, of course. Then he asked them and not everybody also agrees to help. So there were 2 really nice seniors of mine. She invited me to breakfast and she guided me how it is done. And then it took me another some months to shape those documents. It takes a time. It's really underestimated. You take a lot of time to build a story. And I was at that time also writing my master thesis. So I was very stressed that if I should focus on my master thesis, because that's also important, I don't get my degree and I don't do a job. Or should I focus on job because what if I complete my master's but I don't have a job? So I didn't know how to manage my time.
Super stressful,
I didn't know how to manage my time, and the same time it was 1.5 years I didn't see my family also. So I was stressed. I wanted to get a job and then go to India because then you are relaxed. But also I wanted to finish my master's. So I didn't know that time how to manage my time.
And so a lot of things were going on.
And I was trying to manage it, but of course I was not the best at that time, and I of course needed some support or guidance to manage my time, to know how to do it. And then one day I decided, okay, I need to put a break. I think I should focus on what I have at hand first,
Yeah.
because that's very important. If I don't complete my master's, then I can eventually not do a job.
Yeah.
So then I tried to push my thesis first,
Okay.
complete it, submit it, and then I was a bit at peace, and I could really focus on my applications. So I was in the process of writing. I submitted it. I started to then apply, and it's not always like a walk of flowers, or it's not an easy walk. You will get a lot of rejections.
Yeah.
And this was the story initially. I got a lot of rejections, which, so my motivation was at level 10, and it came to level 1.5.
Oh.
Because every time I applied somewhere, I got a rejection. I applied somewhere, I got a rejection. But like they say, you should never give up.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, that you did not give up, and here you are.
I think all of us, it's very difficult, because if you're so demotivated, you think, okay, maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
But then it started. I started to get offers from 2 places, 3 places, and then you again start to feel confident.
Yeah.
So the rejections were not because, of course, at some places maybe I was not the correct candidate. I didn't have the skills. But sometimes you just have to wait for the right position, the right place for yourself. And this requires patience,
Yeah, indeed.
which I was not good at. So I was quite impatient at that time, because I just wanted to land up in a job. But my friends, my family, they helped me. They supported me, and they told me it's okay to not have immediate acceptance. Wait for it. I waited for 4 months, 5 months, and then I started to get some offers. So it's good that I did not give up initially, and thanks to my friends and my family who supported me mentally, because maybe I would have really given up.
Yeah, I mean, indeed, you need support at each and every level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether it is your family, friends, or colleagues.
Yeah.
So it's always good to seek out to people.
Always.
Yeah. And maybe you can get some advices as well, which could be beneficial.
Yes.
Even if they are not from that field or that area.
Yeah.
At least you can get some kind of advices, because we are humans, and we have this kind of how to say, that we give free advices to everyone.
We always like to give.
Sometimes you get like good free advices, sometimes really bad. Now you have to filter it out.
Yeah.
Like which one you want to take it. But just open to take advices from people.
I mean, like they say, there's a saying in India that listen to everything. And some things you just listen from one ear and you take it out from the other. So
it fits perfectly in this.
So you can always listen to everybody.
Yeah.
Some people will really give you advices which you should take, and some people will just do a chit chat and go away.
Yeah, true.
And you should just decide what's good for yourself. But like I said, no, so it's not just me, but my friends also had the same kind of situation for PhD, actually. They were applying to a lot of PhD applications, and they were also getting rejections from a lot of institutes, and this is so frustrating for them as well. So it's not just in that you see only for one side, that, oh, I don't want to apply for jobs because the response time is so long, I have to wait so much, or I don't want to apply for a PhD because you get so many rejections. So it's nothing like that, I think. It could be that it works out for you in second application. So one of my friends, she just applied 3 applications in PhD, and she got in Berlin and Max Planck. So it's just maybe luck, I don't know,
a
little bit of time,
well as, luck, and maybe improvement in the
in the applications. Of course, also it's okay to ask people, show your applications to people, your CV to people, and ask their advices. But yes, it took some time. I had a lot of sleep deprived nights, but at the end, when it worked out, it felt good.
Great. I mean, it's good that at least all this hard work was at the end successful.
Yeah.
You landed up on a very good job. I don't know the dream job, but at least Good job.
I don't think the first job is a dream job to anybody.
Yeah, it's always the thing. And there is a saying on this that it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be,
Indeed.
because then you don't know
The other options.
the other options.
So again, on the same thing that you have to explore
Yeah.
to find out whether indeed that is the place where you can thrive. And for figuring out that, then you have to explore
Yeah.
on different areas.
Yeah, I think for me the most important thing was it would be my first. So I did the job in India as well for 1 year, but for Germany this was my first full-time job. So the consulting job was a part-time job. So this would be my first full-time job. So I have to really learn a lot. So I was prepared that even if it is not my dream job or not the job I would want it forever, but I think I could learn it.
Yeah.
So
That should be the mentality.
so of course there are always ups and downs, and for me also there are. So it's not like a bed of roses where I'm just lying down and just working from 9 to 5 and I come back. Of course there are ups and downs, but that's fine. I think you learn a lot in the process, and so you have to choose what's your priority.
Yeah.
If you want to achieve or learn during the process, or you just want to earn and go back home and sleep. So, and like I said, there is nothing wrong and right. It's your personal
Yeah.
choice, I would say. So some people, for them it works. If they get the money, they go home, they spend it, they're happy.
Yeah.
And if that's working out for them, I think it's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, for long run, if you want growth,
Then it's of course a question mark. It's always a question mark. So that's what, if you're a hustler, if you're an achiever, if you want growth,
yeah,
then of course, then you have to keep up your game. So this is also a personal choice, I would say. I mean, in that case, I'm lucky because, like I said, so my family is also one of my biggest supporters. My brother, my dad, but they also keep challenging me. So they always keep asking me, if I'm working for 2 years now, what do I know? And then I have to think. And so they support you, but they want to make sure that you're doing right. So I think it's also nice to have these checkpoints, people who check on you sometimes and poke you a bit, tickle you a bit to see if you are following the right path.
Yeah. So, I mean, coming back to this application part, so what would be your kind of advices or a recommendation for people who are, let's say, planning to apply for jobs, especially in industry? So what should they kind of take into consideration, like whether improving CV or maybe writing? Because in most of the application, let's say if we talk about advertised job position, then sometimes they don't mention about cover letter. So how important it is to write a cover letter or to not to write, or maybe if you can just highlight some points on that.
I think, so what is most important when you're applying for a job? Of course, I know there could be more advices, but for example, if I am hiring some people, I will have 100 applications, right? Now, if you have 100 applications, why should I choose you? This is always the question. So if 90 people are sending me only their CVs, of course, I will look up to them. But if you are the 91st person who will send me your motivation to join the company, why are you different and why should I choose you? I will be more excited in your application than those 90 people. So now it's your choice. You can of course just send the CV, which is no problem. But if you do some, like they say, if you take an extra mile, you get an extra point. And this is what people see. Of course, it might still not work out, but you would try your 100%. So I would say it's always important that wherever you are applying, always show the motivation and what you can contribute. So how you can contribute to the company, because ultimately the company wants to see what you bring unique to your competitors or the other people who are applying, what is different in you. It's not always necessary that if there are 10 skills mentioned, you have to always fulfill all those 10 skills. Because sometimes we are like, nobody can have those 10 skills. You cannot cherry pick, right? That a person is AI based and maybe you have it, of course. But I think they know it that not everybody will have all the 10 skills.
maybe you will learn when you will try that
Exactly.
position.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to apply, because sometimes you may end up having 2 interviews, and you will learn what mistakes you did there. You might not land up in the final interview round, but in that process you will learn what you should not do in the next interviews.
True.
So always, I would say, never hesitate to apply. If there are positions, if you think even more than 50% of your skills are matching, just apply.
Yeah.
Maybe other candidates don't even have those 50% skills, so you don't know that. And always try to mention your motivation and your unique selling points. You have to sell yourself basically, and how you can do it the best. You don't have to portray yourself the best in all terms of skills, but what you bring unique, which can solve their role the best.
Yeah. So you have to show, and you have to invest a little bit of time
Yes.
on each application
Yeah.
to kind of craft
Yes, this is-
motivation thing, to show your proactiveness and
Yeah.
what you are bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an important thing. And apart from that, like, for example, in your case, so you worked in India as well, in industrial setup, totally in like, I would maybe research based probably.
It
or-
was mix of research and also marketing.
Okay, so mix of research and marketing. And how, or let's say, if we talk about some differences, let's say working in totally research-based job and this mix of job,
Yeah.
like kind of consulting
Yeah.
and marketing.
Yeah.
So, because why I'm asking this question, because most of us, especially whether it is master's student or PhDs, they think that, okay, I have master's in, let's say, molecular biology or whatever field, PhD in this and that, and they just want to work on that particular area.
Yeah.
So that is the problem.
Yeah.
Or it's not a problem, but at least they think that they are only meant for this.
Yeah,
and
like
they don't fit in
They
other
don't
things.
fit in other things.
And now that we have a candidate who has different experience in different sector, so I would like to ask you whether like how also industrial people see someone who has just, let's say, a simple background
Yeah.
of biosciences. So whether he or she can apply for some other positions in terms of let's say consulting or marketing,
Yeah.
because many people they restrain themselves to
Yeah.
apply for these
Yeah.
jobs. So if you can just walk us
Yeah, for
through
sure.
this.
Actually, this is the same problem which I faced as well.
Okay.
So, because I also did always research throughout my academic journey. So, my bachelor's was research based, my master's was completely research based. And when I was applying for jobs, because I already did this short internship or part time in this consultancy, this experience was not enough to apply for a full time position, because still I had more experience in research. So, my CV was more research oriented than consulting, sales, or marketing oriented. So I for sure knew that as an entry point, it would be very hard for me to fight against other candidates who would have more experience than me in marketing or consultancy. If I apply for such a position, right? Because how do I defend myself? What would be my selling points as compared to them? I did not have enough to fight against them. And that's where I thought that how about I enter as a research associate or a research candidate, but I would like to so that's what I said in my interview. So I said, I would love to do your development part and I would like to enter as it, but how about, do I have a room in future to also switch, because that's what I really like to do. And I, of course, I also like research, because that kind of helped me. Also in the company helped us as a company also, that if you have the pre-knowledge, like the research knowledge, when you go to the commercial side of the team, you know the struggles in the lab. So it's easy to talk with people or the customers. So then you are on both sides. So this was something which helped not just me, but for us together in the company also. And we discussed about it very openly, that if this was beneficial, then let's do it. And it turned out like that. But like you said, so I'm 100% with the people who would think that it's difficult to enter it. But now there are more options. So you can enter as a research consultant. So you still would enter as a research expert, but you would not directly be involved in the lab.
Okay.
You would be involved in more project management, so you can use your research knowledge.
Yeah.
And these are some, so project management, product management.
Yeah.
So there they need researchers.
True.
Because they need the knowledge of the researchers, but you're not directly doing the lab work. So if this is something you want to switch, if you want to make a switch from lab to the dry part of the dry or the desk space work, you could apply for such positions. So there are many now. So you handle the research groups, but you are more on the mind, like the expertise side, and managing them. So these are some management roles that you can start with. And eventually, of course, when you work in a company or in a position for 2 years, then you can eventually also switch. It's easy. Of course, entry is always the toughest. But now it's good that you have different kind of options. So these could be some starting points. So not just as a scientist that you enter, but you can enter as a research expert or a product specialist. And these are some options.
Yeah, and the thing is, these skills we do learn it, but we do not recognize it.
No.
Whether in masters or PhD. For example, during your master's thesis time.
Yeah.
So you manage time, and also it's kind of a project management as well, because you have a project or sub projects which you are managing,
and you are the manager of it.
Yeah. You are like, you have to consider it as a project. Writing thesis, applying for job, these are projects as well.
Yeah.
And you somehow manage in a time frame.
Yeah.
So that's how you have to recognize these skills, and maybe you can use it as an example as well in your interview. If people ask that, okay, you don't have experience, but you can highlight that, okay, I don't have industrial experience,
but I do
have. Yeah. Or even, for example, for international students who are living abroad, they also do kind of this management thing, right? With the budget and everything.
That's also management.
For example, when you were moving here, so you do all this budgeting.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how much will be my expenses? How I will manage this and that, rent and everything. So it's part of that, and you have to highlight these things.
Yeah.
So I think in this way, I don't know if it is positive.
No,
or
you are
negative.
completely right. This is how you sell your story.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you portray yourself.
Yeah.
And these you definitely manage time. You manage, so in a PhD, for example. So after PhD, if you do a transition into a job, in PhD you are actually the owner of the 4 years of your life, where you kind of are responsible for a particular research area. So you are the product manager there.
Yeah.
So you can apply for such positions because you have done it.
True.
And you are also research expert because you are the brain behind everything.
Yes.
You are also the product manager, expert, and specialist because you know the most about the thesis, not even your supervisor.
Yeah. True.
So you can do all these. These are just a few examples, of course. But you are doing these, and we underestimate ourselves because we say, I've never worked in industry. Maybe these roles don't fit me.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I wanted to highlight, and I asked this question that because most of us think like this way, that okay, when we see all this job requirement, so we see that okay, I just have the degree, but I don't have these requirements what they are asking. But as I said, unintentionally we learn these things during our bachelor's, master's, or even PhD. Yeah. So you just have to recognize that.
You
and
have to
put it in a
recognize it.
way.
Yeah. No, I mean, PhD is also a long journey. In 4 years, you learn so much time management. I mean, you are the best person who can tell about all this. And you learn a lot of skills.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a transition, you will always find skills.
Indeed.
And there's never something that you don't have, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so this was kind of career-oriented part. And now we will kind of switch to a little bit spiciness part, unprofessional part, where we just ask like random questions, like more of conversational again. So sharing any like spicy story or something during your masters, or when you moved here in Germany. Let's say some cultural experience or some other things.
I mean, I don't know spicy story, but like you said, cultural differences. So I was so used to calling all my my teachers, my seniors, as sir and ma'am. And you wouldn't believe, or maybe yours experienced this. So when I started in Heidelberg University, my internships, I had this by default that I used to say ma'am and sir. And nobody said it. They always called their boss by the name, everybody by the name. And they really scolded me, you know. So initially they took it, because they thought I didn't know it. And they said, no, you just call me by my name. No problem, Pratika, call me by my name. And I was like, but I this is not me.
It doesn't come from us,
You are my senior. I cannot just call you by my name. And one day she really, you know, she took me and she's like, I am not sir or ma'am. I am not your ma'am. Call me by my name. And I was like, okay. I mean, then I got so used to it that I'm calling everybody by the name. And then I went to India. I went to India and I was so used to calling everybody by the name. I was at home and I'm calling everybody by the name. Whosoever is coming, I'm telling my mom, he's coming. And she's like, did you forget your values? I thought you called them by Didi or like we say in India, or sir or ma'am or uncle. I said, but now, you know, I'm from Germany, so it's okay, right? So it's so different. You have to switch back and forth.
Indeed,
Not that I forget it, but sometimes it's so natural that you just do it. So you are scolded there for not calling them by sir or ma'am, and you're scolded here because you call them.
I mean, it was like similar experience for me as well. So I mean, I was talking to my supervisor. So after India, I moved to Hungary and then came here to Germany. So I was talking to my supervisor, mentioning her, thank you, ma'am, and all these things. And then one day she replied that, Piyush, my name is this. You should call me this. And I call you Piyush. That should be the conversation. No, ma'am, no, sir. Then I was like, okay. No respected ma'am, no respected sir. Then I learned. And then when I moved there, it was a little bit different for me because in India, I was always calling sir or ma'am, even for seniors also.
Exactly,
So I was very hesitant to call with their name, and then I was like, okay, but after a few months,
you become casual. But it's also what I like here a lot, that everybody is kind of treated equally, so you don't differentiate that somebody is subordinate to you, or if they're doing a small job, they're subordinate to you, which I really like. So this kind of cultural differences I really embrace here. And when I go back to India, I also try to portray these things, that if somebody is working for me, it's not like they are subordinate to me, because I then tell people in India that, you know, even a person who is doing a cleaning job here, they're earning equal to me, or maybe more than me, I don't know. So you should not, there is not such a difference.
And it's not only about the money, it's also about the mentality.
Exactly, the respect that you show them.
The difference in corporate world, which we would definitely talk about, because you have already worked in Indian corporate system and let's say a European corporate system. So if you could talk about some differences, one of the differences is
one of the differences
in India we have this hierarchy system, and people always introduce, for example, your boss will introduce and I have also mentioned even in academia, this is the thing that people introduce, that okay, he or she is working under me.
Yes.
And here, if your boss will introduce to someone else, then they will say that he or she is working with me.
Yes.
So that's the wording difference.
It's a big difference.
So how was your experience on this?
I mean, like you said, of course, this is one of the difference, like I mentioned, the sir and ma'am thing. And also, you are always so uncomfortable around your boss, because you always see them as a different entity. So if they enter the room, everybody stands up. Like something has happened. But now when I work, if my boss is coming inside or is outside, I still do my work. I don't have to stand up to greet him, or it's not a classroom. But in India, you kind of do this. You stand up and greet them, and it's not like you have to do it. They would get offended. So not because, and maybe they're also not doing it voluntarily, but they have also been raised in such a situation or an environment that they are used to it.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's a bitter thing. I should not say on podcast, but I will say it, because we have been kind of embedded this
needle,
you can say, or this slavery slavery thing, that we are always kind of being slave to our master or to our boss. And that's why whenever, let's say, your boss or your supervisor is coming, you stand up, or and it's not about the respect thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Sure, I mean, here also, I mean, when
We
call it
greet
with
each
their name,
other.
yeah, greet each other. We do not stand, we talk. Even your boss is standing and you are sitting, it's not a disrespect.
Yeah, you still
Because
respect.
The thing is, you should maintain the work ethics, and that is different, and respect is different.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I think in India also we should implement this.
Yeah.
Rather than focusing on this respect and other useless thing, better maybe focus on productivity.
But yeah, I mean, of course, it's not everywhere. It's still not everywhere, so we should
Yeah.
not make it as a
Common
myth and
generalized,
thinking. And I think it's now improving a lot, because
Yeah,
now
that's good,
all the
yeah.
multinational companies now they are kind of adapting, or they're, of course there are changes, and now I think it has changed, which is already really good. But yeah, there are some comparable differences also. Of course, I think Europe is very famous for work life balance, a little bit more profound than what we have in other Asian countries, I would say. I would not just say India, because of course in other Asian
Yeah.
countries also there is not enough kind of balanced rule.
Oh yeah, I mean, there is a very good example of China.
Yeah.
Where they say this 669.
Yeah.
So like from something like this, where they work like for 9 hours,
Yeah.
6 days. So 9 to 6 for 6
6 days. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very common, but here it's not.
So what I like about especially Europe, I mean, I could say, because that people really take their vacation seriously. And before I used to think that how do and why do they take it so I had this curiosity to know until I also started to do the same thing. But it's not because you just have to complete your vacations. It's because you want to feel recharged. And this helps. So they really plan the vacations. So some of my colleagues, they really plan the vacations ahead for the whole year, and they take it really in a balanced way. So every 2 months, 3 months, they have some vacation days, and this kind of helps them recharge, revive, and they can come back. And that's why you don't feel frustrated, you don't feel tired, you don't feel burned out, because you have frequent gaps, and they don't have to be for like too long, but you can take like a week off after every now and then if it's feasible, and if you have the opportunity. So I think most companies in Europe, they have like a 20 to 30 days of vacation policy, and that's a good thing, right? And like in summers, I see that everybody goes away, everything is closed. Some shops are also closed, the doctors are also on vacations, which is a huge difference as compared to Asian countries or India, because there you don't have such a long vacation period. I mean, of course, in corporate world, yes, but in normal working style, you always have somebody working.
I mean, on paper they have that this vacation,
Yes.
paid vacations,
Paid vacations.
but it's only on paper.
Yeah. So
You will not be appreciated.
I mean, also the business people in India, or the shopkeepers in India, or in other Asian countries, and let's not only say about India, they always want to make more money. They don't want to rest. Maybe that's good for their economical benefits, but maybe not good for their mental benefits, right? And they are maybe missing out their lives.
Indeed, yeah.
But in Europe, I think people are making the best out of their lives. They really take their holidays seriously, even if they're self-employed, they are working for a company or any other profession.
Yeah, and actually you can be kind of efficient as well, because when you're working, let's say 9 to 5, then you are really productive and efficient.
Yes.
So you are not using the time to take multiple coffee breaks or chit chat or other things.
Are you talking about from your experience?
Kind of. So I mean, that's how people do in some places, that they take multiple coffee break and then small talks.
Just try to
chit-chat,
pass the day.
Gossips, and then they show that, okay, I worked for 12 hours today. That's how people count.
Yeah.
But here you will see that there is no time to even talk to colleagues, and you also feel like, okay, you have limited time and you have to give your best or 100% out of that. So you by default become productive and efficient enough. Even if you're not, eventually you become.
Yeah.
that.
I think, this is also kind of managing time. So a lot of people I see that, because in summer especially, Europe is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Now since it's over, I can say that it was beautiful time. So what they try to do is they want to make the best out of summer. So they start the work early and they leave early, because in the evenings they want to spend time with their family, with their friends, and there's so much going on, so many activities, outside activities, fests going on, and they want to experience that. And it's good, you have flexibility to do it.
That is the work-life balance.
That is the work life, which on paper sounds really easy, because not everybody is able to achieve it, of course.
I mean, it's kind of, I would say, it's also a learning process. So first you think that, okay, work-life balance is something you don't recognize. You have to practice it. And as you mentioned that in summertime, since days are longer, so you start early, you finish early, then you have rest of the day to enjoy or to do some activities
or
maybe
me time,
or maybe follow your hobbies. Even if you don't have hobby, develop a hobby. Because you need some distraction from your work to stay motivated for your work.
Exactly. You need some revive time to recharge. I mean, all the batteries need recharge. So I'm talking very philosophical here, but we also need to recharge.
True.
And when you recharge, you are more active. And I should also imply it to myself for sure, but it's easier to say than to do. But it's really good that if you do it, and this is what you learn from different cultures. And as in coming from a different culture, this is how I also learned. And when I came here for the first year, I also did not do it. I was not taking vacations or holidays. But then I realized, oh no, you should. And now I also started, planning in my calendar. So now I have packed calendars, and now I'm proper Germanized. I'm proper Germanized, and I see my appointments and see my bookings and my vacations in my calendar. But this helps, This is also something, because in India I always used to scribble on a paper, or I used to remember everything. I was not a calendar person. So this is also a huge change which Europe taught me. A big cultural difference. Maybe some people were already doing it before, but at least I started to be a more organized person after I came here, in terms of appointment settings, or in terms of my calendar things or tasks.
Same here, Previously I was not doing anything like organizing or managing my calendar. I was very impromptu. Everything was impromptu. But now it's like
everything is
not
set.
Well planned, but at least planned.
You have some
For
plans.
example, this podcast series also, there are like marked calendars that, okay, these dates, these speakers are there. So that's how it is working.
So that's how we see there's so much cultural differences we learn. And
we adapt.
We adapt to them. And this also, some of things I learned from my job as well, from different jobs and internships I did, because I saw people doing it. And you take the good things, like you said. You also see people who are doing different things. You don't have to take them. But these were some take-home messages which I could take and adapt in my personal life. And it really helped me as a person, I would say.
That's wonderful, As you said, learn from others. Maybe not only the professional skills, but also this personal
skills. It's very important.
Because how they are managing their personal life, and maybe you're not that good to have balancing this work-life balance, so-called work-life balance, which is not in academia. In industry, there is, at least in some percentage, I would say.
I think
maybe you can highlight on this, if it is indeed a work-life balance, or just on, like we see on videos, in YouTube videos, on some paper, that work-life balance is there.
I think always the academic researchers and my PhD friends, they always feel that if you're in industry, your job is over at 5 p.m. And they at least think that. Ideally, yes, good. So it depends on what kind of job you are doing. If you are in a particular sector where you are really required to work very flexibly, others are not dependent on you, you could really do this work-life balance, which is good. I mean, it's no bad that I should say, oh no, why do I have a work-life balance here? It's really good. So you can really work flexibly. So you start at 6 in the morning, you start in the evening. So you can do your shift, 8-hour shift, howsoever you like throughout the day. If you're a night owl, you work at night, you sleep in the morning, if nobody's dependent on you. If you have a team which you have to work together with, then of course you have to manage your time based on their schedule as well. So if your whole team starts working around 8 or 9, you have to also start, or you have to be available then. So for me, I am not a super early riser.
Okay.
I can wake up early, but I would not like to start working at 6 a.m. I would like to start working between 8 to 9. This is my okayish time. I cannot start working at 7 or 6:30, but which works fine. So I try to schedule my appointments in a way that, of course, if there's something super urgent, I always try to jump in. But I always try to put my appointments after 8 a.m. So then, I can also, because if I'm forced to wake up at 7 a.m. and do something, maybe I will not like to do it.
Yeah, and probably you won't be able to give your 100%.
No, because that's not me. So that's something which I try to make it, that I try to balance my time based on how I can also work until late. That I can do. So I can work until 6 p.m., which some of my colleagues, they leave early because they have other commitments. But for me, it's fine if I can work until 6 p.m., but not start from 6 a.m. Of course, if people are dependent on you, you have to shift accordingly. But in industry, yes, I would say there is a bit of work-life balance, or mostly in some companies, they really emphasize that no employee works more than 8 hours a day. And they make a count that if you have extra hours, you can either take a pay out of it, or you can take some holidays,
extra
leaves out of it. So this is really good. So if you work extra for some reasons, because you have client meetings or some other commitments, you can rest in some other time. But for example, if you're working for a consultancy, there you work for 12 hours. And this is also a choice, because some people, so there, of course, if you work more, you earn more. But is that what you want to do? This always comes a question. For some people, this makes them happy because, they can just work, eat, go to bed. But for some people, this is a viscous cycle, because even if they're getting money, they're not using it anywhere. It's not making them happy. They don't have time to relax. So there they have no work-life balance.
And it's not worth it.
For some people it is, because for some people it's fine. But still, so you have to choose. If you really need a work-life balance, then you choose your profession or your career path in that way. But if you choose to work like for 12 hours and 13 hours, then you can also do it. But then, of course, you will not have that work-life balance.
True. So how is it like in startup companies, whether like in a startup, do you have to work extra hours, which will not be considered in the working hour, or there is so-called work-life balance?
I mean, of course, so startups, because you have a small team, and it's a beauty about startups also that multiple people can do multiple jobs. But that comes with more responsibilities. I mean, at least for me, we don't have this culture that if you work more hours, you are not compensated. So if I have to work extra, or my colleagues have to work extra, you can compensate this for a leave. But they don't pressurize us to do more work, because if then we collect a lot of hours, then we take leaves together. This is also not healthy, right? Because then every day you're working for 10 to 12 hours, and then you're off for 2-3 days. So for company also, it's costing, right? Because if you are off for 4 days continuously, so of course they ask us to not work too much. Like, of course, if it's needed, then it's fine. But if we collect some hours, then we can compensate it with holidays. Different startups might have different needs. I would say if you're a shorter team of 3-4 people, you might be expected to do more work. I'm not sure if then you're compensated or not, but sometimes it's also more about the ownership. If you are in a very early stage, you have to build up, you are kind of obliged to do it. Because
but then it's your choice, I think, right? For example, whether you want to join such...
Exactly. If you want to be a hustler, or you want to do this hustle.
And also it's a learning thing, because in startup probably you can learn more than an established company, because in established company probably you might be only involved in
one job role.
Whereas in startup, you on particular job role you can also learn some other skills as well, which is a good thing, because you will learn these skills free of cost,
Yes.
and maybe you can use this to other company,
Yeah.
in established companies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I think for learning, startups are a really good starting point. So you can learn a lot from different niches, and you can you directly work with the decision makers.
Yeah.
So it's a small team, so you can also say your decisions. Whereas in big companies, it's not bad. Maybe you earn more there, and you have more exposure, a little bit more. But of course, you have a defined role. Maybe for some people, like I said, it's a matter of choice. They would like to do the same job every day. For them, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want more spices, more ups and downs, more cries, more laughter, crying days, like I said, there's always in startup, there's always like a wave.
Yeah.
Then startups are a good option for you, because you can feel this series of different emotions in your journey. And then you can utilize it, like you said, for other companies, for big companies, or when your startup grows, maybe get a leadership role there.
Yeah. And probably you will have more responsibilities as well, right? Right, in a startup, because you will also feel responsible. Because since you have like a small team, and you frequently discuss and you work on one project, then you feel like, okay, I'm responsible to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, then you are kind of self-motivated, right? Because you know that you're not just doing A, but you have to also take care of B and C task. So you are, even if your title is just, for example, product manager, you're also the product expert and product something or something else. So you have like 3 roles but 1 title, which is fine. So there, the title is not that matter, but it's more about the skills that you're learning. And you develop a lot of things, you establish a lot of things yourself in the startup. So you also kind of see it differently, because in bigger companies, you would not be an establisher of some stuff, right? So it's also like you feel you're more connected in that sense, and you're close knitted with the team also.
Okay. So what would be your recommendation to, let's say, early career stage aspirants, whether to go with startups or established company, let's say, if they are getting option?
I would say it's completely choice based. Here, I would not be biased and say that, oh, be a hustler and go for startup, or don't go for startups, or just go for established companies. I would say, of course, if somebody gets a chance to go for a big company like BCG or any Roche or Pfizer, I would also take it.
Why not?
I would also take it. So why not? But of course, I mean, if you want to learn from the scratch, if you have no clue, maybe you could try the startups as well. It depends on case by case.
So it depends on person to person, as well as on your own choices. What do you want?
Yes. So it's not about what, like I said, it's not always about what you should do or what you have to do because you are an early starter. I would not say. I would say it's what you want to do. This is the most important thing, which I think we should always kind of understand.
Yeah, and appreciate these things. Yeah, totally agree with this. Yeah, I mean, it was really great to have all the advices and this conversation, which turned out to be a lot of advices and suggestion for aspirants out there. Hopefully, I mean, it is fruitful for sure for people, and many of our audience might have like a lot of questions as well related to, let's say, this transition, or maybe also about the career advices. And good thing is, I mean, you give career advices as well on TopMate on this session. So if people who want career advices, do reach out to her on her TopMate. Link will be in the description for sure. And yeah, people can reach out to you if they have question on maybe LinkedIn or so. Yeah. So thank you very much for taking out your time for this session, sharing valuable advices and suggestions. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure, Piyush. Really, I really enjoyed. Thanks a lot for having me.